All right, Bulls and Bears, what is happening? Back with another dose. Friends, we have a lot of news to uncover, unpack, to dig into. A lot going on here. We've got a big left versus right thing happening right now. One side punching against the other side. And we've got USAID out there making a lot of accusations on where a lot of our money has been going to. I'm talking about our money, talking about the working class, what you've been paying for, what I've been paying for, with the chunk that we give up based off of what we earn, or if you're doing things the legal way, anyways. If you report all the stuff that you earn, they even want to know if you found money or won money in gambling. So they're trying to take a chunk of whatever you make or find. In this case, whatever you win, maybe. A lot of things, folks. Let's go ahead and get into some economic news, and we'll get into that and a lot more. Please make sure you are subscribed, because so much to get into today here. And first of all, we've got Meta. Meta owns Facebook 5% of their workforce. That's a big chunk. That's a lot of people with a company the size of Meta owning Facebook and other social media platforms, Instagram and others. 5%. That just shows you that a multi-billion-dollar profitable company will still let you go in a drop of a dime. People somehow think that because companies are doing well, they're not going to be laying people off. Companies can be making profits, even record profits. They're still going to be looking for ways to lay you off. It's not about helping the workers. It's not about any of that. It's about making more money, even if they're multi-billionaires. How far do you have to look at the rich people, some of the richest people in the world, still trying to do more? We've got Musk out there trying to buy or talking about buying TikTok now. It never ends. We've got Warren Buffett still investing. He went to cash, a lot of big cash position. I believe it was a record cash position for Warren Buffett in 2024. Waiting for some sort of correction is what many people speculated that he was doing. So he, even at his age, he's not done. He's still trying to make more money. Bezos always looking to expand what he's doing. And it doesn't end, folks. And they're looking for more ways to replace you, the human worker. Look at the warehouses. Look at Amazon warehouses. All the automation, all the robots, order picking. So, of course, the more money they make, the more is going to go into AI, automation. They're trying to get rid of you as a person. You are a liability to the company in most cases. And let's get into a little bit of what they're telling us here. Facebook parent plans to chop 5% of workforce. Will notify impacted employees via their work and personal emails. According to a post on Meta's International Workplace Forum, the emails will contain information about how their severance packages before will lose access to company systems within an hour of being notified. Wow. So you go out for lunch, you come back, if you have an hour lunch, you might already be locked out. That's pretty extreme there. You give an hour notice to reply to an email or to read the email. Pretty insane, folks. That just shows you how little these companies really are looking out for their employees. It's all about the bottom line. If you're not making them money, if you're not pulling your weight, so to speak, you're done. You're gone. And people are going out taking out 30-year mortgages based on the money they're making today, when you could come back from lunch and you get an email and all of a sudden you find out that you're done. Now, you do have a severance package. The same thing with a lot of these federal jobs. A lot of these people will still have income for a while. They're getting some sort of payout. They're getting some sort of agreement, a stipend. And I'm sure we'll see a lot of complaints on social media about the way that these layoffs are being conducted there out of Meta. Now, something very interesting about these January jobs numbers. We talked about these in pretty good detail in our previous report. Thank you for those of you that tuned into that previous report. And what we talked about in that report was how the unemployment filings were about 4 times of the jobs added for the month. It was like 4 to 1, basically. But we're finding the jobs that were added were not very productive jobs. In fact, let's bring up a chart here out of CNBC. The number one category for jobs added, healthcare and social assistance. In other words, zero production. All right, we're taking care of sick people, and it's probably because U.S., we're one of the sickest countries in the world. If you look at the population, our diets, the obesity rate, So the more people get sick and need care, that's going to create jobs. I guess they're making a positive out of a negative. Social assistance, that was the number one category. Retail trade, reselling stuff mostly made in China that we have imported in here with record trade deficits. Government jobs, governments can just hire as many people as they want to because they have unlimited borrowing capacity. They can just print, aka borrow money in unlimited amounts. So that's the job growth, folks. People getting sick, people selling stuff, retailers selling stuff, goods made in China for the most part, and government jobs. After that, it drops off of a cliff. Financial sector, 7,000 jobs. Construction, just 4,000. Manufacturing, just 3,000. And then we go into the negative territory. Folks, it's a implosion. It's an implosion is what I see happening here. And now you go down to this third row here, government jobs. Well, a lot of those jobs are being slashed. So the numbers we looked at today from January, when we get to March and look back at February, folks, it's going to be a tsunami of bad news here. I mean, good news, bad news, whatever you want to call it. Some people actually look at job losses as good news because they want a recession, they want deflation, they want the cost of living to come down. And I can see that, but there's a lot of negative things that happen when the cost of living comes down. It's usually in conjunction with a lot of people losing their jobs, foreclosures, evictions, you name it. All right, let's move on here. The new administration suspending a $5 billion electric vehicle charging program. This was going to install a whole bunch of charging stations. $5 billion. That's a lot of charging stations, folks. And the highway agency ordered states to no longer spend funds allocated under the previous administration's EV charging station program. They have ordered states to suspend $5 billion in electric vehicle charging station programmed. Further blow to the environmental movement. So people with electric cars, you might be finding it very difficult to find a charging station, especially as the current charging stations get older, they start malfunctioning. I saw one social media post, like half of the chargers at this charging station, I'm not sure what state it was in, half of them were out of order. And you had people waiting to get their cars charged, and it takes a long time. These people are sitting there getting their car charged. So you're waiting in line to get your car charged, and now it's going to be not many new car chargers coming on board, it looks like, with this cut in funding. It's a lot of money, folks. And as the old ones deteriorate and start breaking down, a lot of them are already breaking down, what's it going to look like to try to charge your electric car? It's going to be very interesting to watch that. All right, folks, let's move on to what this recent auditing and investigation into USAID has uncovered. It uncovered a lot of spending. Now, here are the accusations. Now, I say accusations. This is allegedly. This is what they're saying. Of course, another side saying something else. We'll talk about both sides here. What Musk and others on the right basically are saying is USAID has been completely unaccountable for decades. They've been sending money all over the world. I would say, yeah, I agree with that. Here's some of the ridiculous programs that your money is being spent on. $7.9 million to teach Sri Lankan journalists to avoid certain gendered language. $20 million for a new Sesame Street show in Iraq. All right, this is all allegedly. Look it up. Do your own research. It almost sounds too ridiculous to be true. A $4.5 million payment to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. $1.5 million for, quote, art of inclusion people with disabilities, right? Some people may say, yeah, these are good causes. I'll give up more of my paycheck to pay for this stuff. Other people say this is ridiculous. There's a lot of people in the U.S. that need the money. In fact, look at some of the type of people that are still working. Let me bring this up. This is someone, I believe, in his 80s, still making deliveries, folks. This is sad. Let me bring this up here. Go ahead and take a look at this guy. He is making deliveries, folks. And it doesn't say his exact age. Veteran working as a delivery driver, surprised with fundraiser. So that was a nice part of it. And this guy, look at him. This is sad, folks. He's barely making it up the steps. Working at his age. Ask yourself, for fun I guess he's a Walmart greeter also. So what does it say here? As he does his best to keep his balance, carrying heavy load of soda and boxed food from Walmart. So he's delivering stuff from Walmart. It looks like one of those delivery companies. Is it DoorDash? What is it? The one with the groceries? Not DoorDash. What's that called? I can't think of it right now. Please let me know down in the comments. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point of the story is, look at what people are doing here in America, yet we're sending money all over the world. You would think a nation with 30-something trillion dollars in debt, there would be nobody working after the age of 50. After 50, you should just be chilling because we've spent so much money. You should have paid off everybody's mortgages. You should have paid off everybody's bills. And some people say that's crazy and absurd. But look at the amount of money we're spending overseas. And people say that's not crazy and that's not absurd. But paying off Americans' bills or debt, that would be absurd. I mean, some people actually think that that's how it should be. Now, here's the other side of the argument with this whole spending and what's being uncovered supposedly by USAID. Others say, and Joe WO01 put this out on social media, Musk did not shut down USAID because it was a lot of waste. He shut it down because USAID was investigating Starlink, his company, for shutting off satellites and for other reasons. They're basically, Starlink was being investigated, and I heard SpaceX was too. Again, this is accusation. This is allegedly. So there's two sides, folks, to the story. Who do you believe? I mean, I'll believe anything at this point, but look at the facts. Look at what makes sense. And I do believe there's a lot of waste. I think that's pretty easy to see. A lot of waste. You see all the country, all the foreign aid. They announce it. You don't even have to try to guess, or that part of it's not even allegedly. They announce it. They came out and said, oh, we're sending this much money to this country, this much money to that country. They wouldn't just come out and say that if it wasn't happening. All right. Any of this stuff, please let me know down in the comments. I mean, what's your side? What's your view of it here? The world's second largest gold storage facility has suddenly very long lines to withdraw bars. Right, that's being reported in a few different news outlets here. So what's the deal with that? People are seeing what is happening, and they're becoming very concerned. And especially with the price of gold here in the U.S., some people are cashing in. And remember, we still have central banks continuing to buy up gold. All those bodies who ship the gold, they've all got the slots they need over the next few weeks. So basically, people aren't able to get their gold here out of some of these gold storage places. Bottom line is be careful. Be careful where you keep your gold. I don't have enough precious metals to need to store it somewhere else. You know, I've got a safe that's pretty good size. Holds what I stack. I wouldn't store it at any other under any other third party. I just wouldn't trust it here. But to each his own. These people trusted this place, and now they're having a hard time getting their gold. That's a bottom line. Maybe check out that story if you're interested. All right, moving on here. How's the consumer doing? Loaded up on debt. Consumer inflation spikes. Consumer inflation fears spike in February as tariff worries hit sentiment. It's been all over the news. The news media is basically saying, sorry, that screenshot was pretty bad. News media basically saying that it's over, it's done, that this is definitely 100% going to create massive inflation. A lot of news outlets saying that. By the way, a lot of the U.S. aid money, USAID, is they're also saying it went to media organizations basically to prop up these media outlets that were putting out certain talking points. And they're saying if it were not for this cash infusion, in some cases millions of dollars, that some of these online companies and media outlets would have not existed because enough people weren't actually paying to read their stories or watch their news. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all this plays out, right? All right, let's jump over to real estate, folks. A jump in delinquencies in a corner of the mortgage market suggests first-time home buyers may be struggling. Definitely struggling. A lot of people, especially people that bought their home in the past 3 or 4 years, with these high elevated costs, the cost of insurance now, the cost of living, a lot of job losses, we're starting to see a big uptick in delinquencies. It's not huge yet, but we're going to see how this plays out with the mortgage market. All right, but here's what I really wanted to get to, folks. U.S. credit for December blew away, and this is debt, basically. Credit's a nice way of saying debt. Consumer credit for December, $40.8 billion versus only $12 billion estimated. That's more than 3 times the amount of borrowing, aka credit, that they expected people to run up. All right, so in other words, people are definitely struggling, and they're having to basically live off of credit cards, folks. 3 times the number that they expected was the total amount here, 40 billion, more than 3 times. It was closer to 4 times, actually closer to 3 times. But folks, it's a big number. I'd have to look it up. That looks like it might be a record for how much higher it came in versus the estimate that everybody expected. And here's how Bloomberg put it. U.S. consumer borrowing surged by 40.8 billion. Okay, the most on record. There we go. I just had to look at one other article. The most on record. So there's another piece of evidence telling you what's really happening in the economy with most people. About 70% of people, again, barely scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck. All right, here's another one. Consumer sentiment drops sharply in February as inflation worries soar. Again, all the optimism since November starting to fade away. People are expecting things to get a lot cheaper very quickly, and it's not happening. Of course, it's only been a few weeks since the new administration took over, but to me it looks more inflationary than it does deflationary. But we're going to find out. We have a lot of crazy things happening. So many things in motion right now, it's impossible to say exactly which way this is going to go. But it's sure going to be interesting, isn't it? And what side of the accusations are you on? USAID, USAID is what they're calling it. Bad. A lot of bad, unnecessary spending. A lot of people getting rich off of that. Or is that just something that they're going to do to attack the other side to try to get more political power, right? Left versus right. Is it more of that? To me, it looks like a lot of that as well. I mean, there's always been spending that shouldn't happen. I mean, I've always questioned the defense budget, which we send money all over the world, the weapons that we provide to these other countries versus money that we should be spending here in the U.S. Folks, it looks crazy, and it's going to get crazier. But anyways, please let me know what you think about all this down in comments, everybody. As always, we'll try to see on the weekend. I'm going to be going out of town here. I'll try to get at least one video in over the weekend. Maybe using my other portable camera. We'll have to see how it goes. But anyways, hope you guys have a good weekend. Super Bowl weekend. Is it going to be the Chiefs? Is this going to be 3 in a row for the Chiefs if they win it? I'm just rooting for the Eagles just to not see the Chiefs win another Super Bowl. A lot of people are saying that the refs are in for the Chiefs, if you know what I mean, because you got Taylor Swift over there. You got a lot of celebrity type of influence, if you will. With the Chiefs, and we're going to see how the game goes. What I've been hearing is that the penalties get called a lot on the other team when it's the Chiefs playing. We'll see how it plays out, folks. I think everything is pretty much manipulated and maneuvered at this point. I mean, let me know what you think about that down in the comments. Who do you got, the Eagles or the Chiefs? I'm rooting for the Eagles. My mind tells me it's going to be the Chiefs again because they've been there so many times. Kind of like a Tom Brady thing with that team. They're just like what's the word? They're a dynasty. They're a dynasty right now. So we'll see how it goes, folks. I want the Eagles to win, though. Keep stacking, everybody. Bye for now. Peace.